Have you ever stopped to think that your best quality, your kindness, could actually be turned into a weapon against you? We're going to get into that because what we're about to unpack is a really subtle but incredibly powerful form of manipulation.
So let's just start with a tough question. I want you to think about your inner circle. Is there any chance, even a small one, that someone you trust isn't just listening, but is actually, doing research on you? Kind of like they're gathering intel for a future move, maybe even a betrayal? It's a really unsettling thought, I know, but it's one we need to explore.
And that leads us to this core idea, kindness as a map. See, when you're open with someone, when you share your vulnerabilities, you're basically handing them a map to your inner world. Now, for a real friend, that map helps them get closer to you. But for someone else, well, that same map is a perfect guide to all your weaknesses, your fears, your blind spots. It's everything they need for a future attack.
So, how does this actually play out? Well, this kind of manipulation usually shows up in one of two ways. Let's start with the first one, a pretty sneaky strategy of quiet, passive data collection that I call the silent watcher. A silent watcher isn't your friend. They're more like a strategist. For the other team, they're just observing you, quietly studying your daily routines, your emotional habits, what makes you happy, and this is the important part, what makes you break. And believe me, this has nothing to do with caring about you. It's a cold, calculated study to find the absolute perfect moment to make their move against you.
And the way they do it is so subtle. They'll remember some tiny offhand comment you made months ago about a small insecurity. They seem to have a perfect memory for your failures, but not so much for your wins. They study who your friends are, noting who you trust, so they know exactly who to isolate you from when the time comes. And here's the biggest red flag of all. They are a vault. They listen, they absorb everything about you, but they never, ever share their own weaknesses.
Okay, so that's the first pattern. But if the watcher is all about being passive, this next type is the complete opposite. They are actively digging for information. Let's talk about the question collector.
So the question collector, what they do is weaponize curiosity. All their interactions feel like a friendly chat, right? But what's really happening is an interrogation. They aren't just sitting back and waiting for you to share things. No, they are actively probing, asking these really specific, targeted questions designed to fill in all the blank spots on that map of you.
So what does this look like? Well, they'll ask these leading questions like, so what's your actual plan after this project is over? They'll poke at your fears, usually pretending like they're trying to help. And you have to pay attention to their advice. Does it always seem to end with you revealing more about your own strategy or your feelings? You walk away from the conversation feeling like you've just been data mined, not like you've been supported.
And this is really the key difference between the two. The silent watcher is an observer, right? They just study the patterns you're already putting out there. But the question collector, they're an interrogator. They are actively creating new data points by pushing you to share things you never planned on revealing. One waits, the other pushes. But here's the thing, and this is so important. It doesn't matter if they're being passive or active. It doesn't matter if it's through observation or interrogation. The end result is exactly the same. They're building a detailed, comprehensive file on you. It's like a dossier of all your vulnerabilities. I know, this all sounds pretty bleak, but listen, knowledge is power. Just recognizing these patterns is a huge first step. The next step is knowing what to do about it. So let's talk about your defensive strategy. The entire defense, the whole game plan, it really just boils down to this one idea. You can't go back and erase the pages they've already written about you, but you can absolutely stop handing them new ones, starting right now. You take back the power by controlling the flow of information. So how do you actually do this? Okay, first up, audit your inner circle. Really think about it. Who has truly earned the right to hear sensitive details about your life? Second, you have to practice information control. Not everything about you needs to be an open book. You get to decide what's public info and what's private. And third, for anyone you aren't 100% sure about, just withhold specific details. Be vague about your big plans. Don't just hand them a list of your deepest fears. You can still be a kind person without being totally transparent. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Take a minute and really consider it. In your own life, who have you given a map to? And more importantly, where does that map truly lead?